Once upon a time, there was a very strong and generous king who used to donate a lot of his gold to the poor people of his kingdom. Every morning, the king got up early and distributed his gold to the poor at the gates of his palace so that they could buy food and clothing. One night, a peasant came to the palace and hid himself by clinging to the wall. The farmer thought that he would stay overnight at the palace gates and then be at the forefront of the queue to get gold from the king in the morning. "If I go first," thought the peasant, "then perhaps the king will give me more gold and I will never be poor or hungry again." But when a watchman of the king's palace saw the farmer hiding near the doors of the palace, he thought that this man would be the thief who had come to steal his gold from the king at night. And so the watchman caught the farmer and locked him up in the cellar under the palace. The next morning, having heard the story of the previous night, the generous king decided to go and speak to the imprisoned peasant. The king entered the dark and gloomy prison cell and asked the peasant, "Why did you want to steal from me when all you had to do was ask me for gold to feed and clothe you? Don't you know that I would gladly give it to you?" The poor man explained that he was not a thief, just a farmer who was going through a bad time and needed help. "I was once a good farmer and a good trader," said the man, "but then there was a famine and thieves stole my money." The farmer looked directly at the king. "I didn't come to steal from you," he insisted. "I came at night so that I could sleep first thing in the morning." "Just that," he said. This story of the farmer touched the heart of that generous king. He ordered his soldiers to rescue the man from captivity, and then he gave the farmer 10 gold coins with which to build his life. The farmer thanked the generous king and walked out of the palace with his gold. But the next day, the farmer was not satisfied with his 10 gold coins. Every night, he waited at the gates of the palace, and every morning, the generous king presented him with another 10 gold coins. This went on for several days, until the king asked the peasant, "When I have given you so much gold, why do you still come to my palace? Surely you are not yet poor or hungry." "But I want to be like you," the peasant said to the king. "I also want to be Amir and strong." "But will you also help the poor of the state?" the king asked. The farmer thought about this question for a while before answering. "Of course I will, sir." "Then I will give you half my kingdom and half my money," said the king, "but you must promise me that you will always help those who need your help." The farmer agreed, and then the king gave him half his wealth and half his kingdom. Many years passed and the farmer turned out to be a clever and generous man. He donated much of his gold, grain, and money to Moashi, and very soon, he doubled his wealth and began giving even more money to the poor of his kingdom. The king was very happy to see all this from his palace. He knew that giving to others was the greatest joy in the world. By sharing what was his with others, the generous king was able to keep everyone happy. The farmer had also learned this lesson well, and he too used to share his wealth and happiness with others. And soon, because both the king and the wise farmer had been so generous, all poverty and hunger were eradicated from that kingdom.